Alright, so how's everybody doing in YouTube land out there? I hope everybody's doing good. I just snowed on my property down here. Anyway, just a little update video here. I've been working on this durango here and still got a long ways to go. But trying to get a heater core in it. Went ahead and got this propane tank here. This is a 100-pound tank here. This is for my heat that I got. And we'll get that hooked up, and I got to get it filled actually, and money's so tight now during the winter that I really don't even have the money to fill the darn thing, so I'll have to wait another week before I can get that thing filled up. But we got 20 pounds for now, so hopefully this 100-pound at least lasts a week. That little buddy heater I got, it goes through it like crazy, so hopefully that'll work. But anyway, to get back on the durango here, I've been working on this thing like crazy and trying to get a heater core in it. And as you can see, I got the radiator out of it and got the shroud out of it, got the AC condenser out of it because I'm deleting all the air conditioning stuff on it because it don't work anyway. And I had a bunch of pinholes in that evaporator core over there, so it was junk anyway. But I got the whole dash out just about, and I think I got it about done about 2.5 hours. I got everything all apart, so I did this about 2 weeks ago, and then been waiting for the darn heater core to come, and it finally come. So now I finally got to get this thing back together here and get her going. Because I've been driving my C10, and my C10 right now is not looking good. It ain't looking good at all. Losing a lot of oil in it, and for some reason I'm going through oil like crazy in it. It's got that old 305 in my C10, and now I'm really kind of pressing to get this thing back on the road here. But I was able to get in here and get this heater core out, and kind of messed it up just a little bit, but this was kind of really unnecessary. But anyway, I took and tried to take a knife and cut straight down this thing so I could pull this top off and be able to get to it. Well, that will work in one way, but another way it won't. I was able to get to the heater core that way, but I wasn't able to get it out because it'll hit this firewall up under here. And I tried to loosen this heater box up and pull it all the way back so I could get the right angle, because you got to pull this back enough and then pull it out to get underneath this firewall here. On the process, I had pulled the heater core out, and I pulled a little too hard, and it broke the heater box up just a little bit. But it ain't really no big deal. I mean, this is just an old beater vehicle anyway, so I'm just going to go in there and get some old plastic glue, or either I'll take that weather strip and stuff you can put on your weather strips to help hold them on. Maybe put them around the windshield or something. I'll take some of that and glue her back up. But anyway, it's kind of unnecessary, because in the long run, when I ended up doing that, I got to think about it even longer. And you know, the AC don't work in this thing anyway. I'm not going to fix it because I don't want to put the money into it. I just want heat. That's all I want. I don't care about the AC right now. My AC is rolling the windows down, going 55 pretty much. All my vehicles don't have AC, so I'm used to it, so it doesn't bother me. And plus, it had a little pinhole in this evap core anyway, so it's junk anyway. The reason the radiator is out is because it was so full of crap, and you know, everything pretty much you can think of, you know, rust, lime, everything else you can think of inside at the core there. Now I'm going to put a new radiator in it too, so, you know, that's why I pull it on out. But I've just about got this AC deleted here, and it's not been too bad. It ain't been too bad at all. So that's where we're at here. I got the AC compressor removed completely. I got all the AC lines off of it completely, and the only ones that are left are the ones that go to the rear passenger compartment. And the way they got these AC lines running is they actually run up underneath this vehicle here, and they go on the side of the frame, and basically got mounts up underneath the floor pan underneath there. So I just went on and took everything loose. I still got just a little bit left I got to get off, but it goes all the way back. Goes all the way back, comes up underneath this fender here, and then goes underneath the floor pan, and comes back and goes over to the back of this console here for the rear passengers. So this thing actually had your AC in it, I guess you would call it. Yeah, there's the vents in it. You can see it. But anyway, I'm deleting all that junk. Actually has a vent that goes from here on back underneath this floor pan here. So I pulled all that out. I'm not worried about it. We really don't need it anyway. But I'm gonna keep the console. But it's just more stuff to worry about. So I'm gonna actually block that off. And because the only thing I'm after is as long as it blows out the vents here on the dash and it defrosts, that's all I really care. I'm not worried about all that. And I think the blend door was not opening up correctly like it's supposed to. Something was up with it. But anyway, I'll have to take a look at that. But I'm just trying to fix it so it'll have some heat and it'll defrost. That's my main thing. As long as it'll defrost, that's I can live with that. But I'm working on deleting all this AC stuff. It's just about done. I got to get the, I guess you would call it the evaporator core out of the heater box there. So I'm going to pull the heater box out, pull that out next, and we should about have it. And then I'll probably end up taking, if it really comes down to it, I'll take a piece of scrap metal and I'll trace it out and I'll patch that in there. And then I'll just drill a hole to it because the only really wire that's running to it is for the blower motor. And I'll do something like that to get rid of the rest of that. But that's basically the only thing that's left, and I'm going to get that removed, and then that'll be about it, really. And I'm going to run a little shorter belt on it. I'm not running that delete pulley that mounts on top of that. I ain't running that. I don't like that setup. I'm just going to run a shorter belt. So, which ain't really a big deal anyway. But, like this belt goes anyway, is once you put a shorter belt on it, it'll be just fine anyway. So that's what we'll do. So it'll probably be quite a few inches shorter. But trying to get everything done all at one time on it. My next thing now is I want to get this dash back together, get everything plugged back in, and get this heater core in it, and then I'm going to come underneath this hood and start wrapping this stuff up. I got a brand new fan clutch for it. I got a new water pump. I got a new timing set for it because I'm going to replace the timing chain and gear set in it. I got to order a Harmont balancer for it, so I'm going to pull this balancer off. I'm going to put a new Harmont balancer on it because I'm going to have to pull that off anyway to replace the timing chain. And, I don't want to halfway do it. So I'm going to replace that balancer. Not really because the rubber on it, because the rubber's actually decent. But basically they get a groove on the back of them there, on the back of them balancers, and they'll leak a little bit over time. And this one's probably leaking just a little bit. Not horrible, but I'm going to pull it off and replace it anyway. And rather than put a brand new seal in it and reuse the balancer and it basically destroy the brand new seal, I'm just going to replace the balancer anyway. And I'm going to actually take it a step further while this thing is apart. And I'm going to get in here and replace. There's 2 freeze plugs in this block here on each side. You can see them. It's one right here on this side, on the passenger side. There's right one at the end of my finger there. And there's another one right down here. About in this radiator hose, it's right in this area, and I'm going to replace them. I don't know if I'll be able to get to the ones on the side of the block, but I will try my best. But the nice thing about it, since this thing is, delete all the air conditioning, it's a lot easier to work on. And so that'll make it a little bit nicer. I actually thought about taking this bracket here and just cutting it off, keeping for the alternator there, and just deleting this all together, so that I can get to this bypass hose for the water pump a lot easier if I ever need to service that. And maybe doing something like that and just kind of making it look like it never came with AC. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll probably just leave it there and heck with it, not worry about it. But I got to bring a new brake master cylinder. I ain't even put on here yet that I need to put on. I'm going to put a new brake booster on it as well. And got a new steering shaft on it I put on a while back. That wasn't too bad. It was actually pretty easy. But anyway, we're going to delete the ABS on this thing as well. And I almost fell there on ice. But I'm going to delete all this ABS junk as well. And I'm going to come up with something there, because if you don't have this plugged in, the speedometer won't read right. So I'm going to have to, maybe I could put a resistor in there and just kind of tuck that up underneath the fender there, maybe somewhere up under there. But I'm going to delete all that and then just replumb the brake lines. Just go back old school and have one running to the front for each side to split off, and then one for the rear that goes all the way back. So we'll split that off. But I want to delete all this ABS crap, get rid of all that junk next, and that'll be that. I actually have a brand new starter on it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's got a brand new starter on it. It's got a brand new steering shaft on it. There we go. You can kind of see it a little bit. It starts a whole lot better. The old starters on it is actually, the housing was kind of cracked on it, and it was pretty much worn out because you had to keep turning the key quite a few times for it finally crank over, and that was before it actually got cold. But anyway, just trying to clean it up because I plan on keeping it. This thing's just a beater. Everything I got's basically a beater. But trying to clean it up, clean the motor up, get some of this garbage off of it, and it's really not that hard to do on this old stuff. And this really ain't that old. This is a 98. And nice thing about it is it's actually running a Saginaw power steering pump. It does run a GM power steering pump on it. And that's factory too. I did not know that Chrysler did that, but yeah, it's running a Saginaw power steering pump, so that's pretty cool. But so I got the fan clutch for it. I got the water pump. I got to order the Harmont bouncer yet for it, and then get the 2 freeze plugs for the front here, because while I got all this off anyway, I'm going to replace them. And I'm going to actually go ahead and probably replace this alternator too, and this tensioner down here. And because while I got all apart, you know, I might as well just do it all one time and be done with it. And that will be that. And I'd like to, once I get rid of this ABS here, I'd like to do something with this old air box here and delete it. It does not have no map sensor at all on it, so it's no sensor on it. So I guess it's just a Ford thing or something, but I think it's actually on the throttle body. Yeah. Or TPS, maybe not a map sensor, TPS, whatever it's called. Yeah, it's one right there. But it's nothing on the box, so really I could delete this box if I wanted. I thought about running like an old school air cleaner if I could find one to put on it. But it probably, I could try that off. You can get a offset air cleaner base to get the clearance between that and the firewall. I guess you could fit one. You might be able to fit one. I think I got enough hood clearance here. Run like an old school air cleaner. But if something ever happens to this thing and the fuel injection ever messes up, it runs, you know, perfectly fine right now. But if it ever messes up one day, I'm going to actually probably end up pulling this intake off this thing and just throw a 4-barrel on it and go back old school on it. And I'll probably end up doing away with all these pulleys too. Maybe, not sure yet, and going back old school on the pulleys. Maybe, I doubt it. But definitely we'll go back old school. If something ever happens to the computer or, you know, anything like that, I'll throw a carburetor on it. Because it's a 360, believe it or not, which is I'm really tickled with. I'm so glad it's a 360. I thought it was a V6 in it at first when I looked at it before I opened the hood up. And then I figured, oh, it's just old 318. But sure enough, it's a 360. It sure is. Somebody had wrote 5.9 up there too. Yep, 5.9. And it is a 5.9. It actually had it on the valve cover there. And it done rubbed off now, but it actually was. And once I decoded it, it had a 5.9, so I had a 360, and I think that's awesome. That's cool. This thing was actually pretty loaded at the time, but I like to retain the cruise control, you know. But if I go back old school, I'll just delete that too. But that's your cruise control down there. But yeah, it looks so much better. It's done cleaned it up quite a bit now, and done got rid of all that AC junk. And I'm gonna give me a shorter belt and put on here, and have a little more clearance now too, so that'd be good. Plus I got rid of all them junk hoses and all that. So and we no longer have hoses going over to it. And it was not even nothing in it, because I actually checked to see if it was actually anything in it, and it wasn't, because when I was pushing the truck around with this thing, I ended up using some coolant anyway. So I was pushing my truck around, and anyway, long story short, I punched a hole in that evap cord there, and it basically leaked it all out this past summer, unfortunately. But it didn't even work before that anyway. Unfortunately, it probably just needed charged, or it could have had a leak somewhere, but it probably just needed charged, but kind of finished it off there. But on the other side there, it's hard to see, but it is a hole in it. A little pinhole. Yeah, it's somewhere on the bottom there, somewhere in the middle there. But it did punch a hole in it, so it was nothing in the system anyway. So I was able to just take everything off of it. So that made it nice, because I didn't have to evacuate the system. But kind of sucks the way it happened, but it is what it is. I don't like this coal here. Coal's got a crack in it. Probably end up replacing that too. But in the distributor wise, if I ever put a carburetor and intake on, I'm gonna run a HEI distributor. I love them things. They're so nice, and so far they've been okay. I've had really good luck with them. Takes a little Chevrolet, to put in a Dodge, or like that's a very old Ford. But anyway, hopefully I don't have to do that, because I'd rather keep the fuel injection. It's nice to turn the key and go. You can get a full with it. But that's if quotations now that ever happens. But that's where we're at here, and I am going to try and do something with this air box here. I don't like that. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. It works perfectly fine, but nice to get that out of there. Get a little more clearance there. But anyway, it's just a beater, but if I can delete some stuff, that'd be nice to delete it. But anyway, probably enough with the deleting stuff right now. It's pretty much done with that. I'm gonna yank this heater box out of here and get this new heater core in here and get that done. And I couldn't even get any water or anything to go through the old one. I mean, it's so stopped up, it wasn't funny. I tried probably flushing that thing about 10 times last spring there, and I couldn't get nothing through it. I mean, it's so stopped up, it wasn't funny. The radiator, I don't know how this thing didn't hold heat. Half the radiator, literally half the core in that thing was stopped up as well. That was another reason why I'm replacing it. And then somehow or another, I really hate to put a brand new radiator on and a heater core in it, because if it's the radiator and the heater core is already stopped up, I hate to see the inside of that block. It's probably stopped up as well, and I have no way to get running water to it. And I really like to flush that block out and take a water hose and knock them 2 front freeze plugs out and flush the heck out of that block to get all the garbage out of it. But hopefully it'll be alright. I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can at least take something and flush it out, because it really needs to be flushed really good. The old C10 here, it's not doing too good. I hate to say it, but it's got an old 305 in it. I paid $200 for it. And got it about 30 to 45 minutes down the road there from a gentleman. It's been a good motor, been a really good motor, but it's starting to use oil like crazy. I mean, it's not really burning it, more or less. It's just leaking it like crazy. So, and plus there's something else wrong with it there. I'm trying to remember. I think of it later. But it's using quite a bit of oil wear. So anyway, I'm going through about quarter to maybe 3 at most a week now, just driving back and forth to work. And that's why I need to get that Durango back on the road, because this thing is, I'm driving it right now, and I'm driving it in this stuff, so that makes it even worse. And I was trying to, quotations there, retire this thing so that I don't have to drive it anymore, but hopefully it'll survive long enough till I can get that Durango on the road so I can actually retire this thing and get it done. But here's the old heater core here from our Durango here, and it was stopped up. Very stopped up. I don't know if you can see the inside of it there, but it is stopped up. I couldn't even blow through it. But anyway, we got our new one, and the whole thing was only like $40 shipped to my door. And of course, kind of living off grid here, you know, you gotta ship stuff to the P.O. box, and a lot of these places don't like shipping it to P.O. boxes, so you have to ship it to your buddy's house and pick it up at there. And pick it up at his house. Kind of a pain, but it is what it is. So pay all that money just to have a P.O. box. Can't even use the thing half the time. But real pain, but there's our new one here. We got a new foam there, it comes with it. But there's a new one. Nice and clean in there. But the other one you couldn't even blow through it. It's so stopped up it ain't funny. But $40 now, folks. $40. It wasn't much, but it's a lot of work. You got to pull the whole dash out. You got to drop steering column. I mean, you really got to take your time. It's not as horrible as it seems, but you got to take your time unplugging stuff. But it can be done. I got to get on the sticking. Hopefully, it'll get a little warmer so I can get on that thing and get that thing back together. Because right now I just want to get the dash back in it, throw that radiator in it, and at least get that much done so I can throw some antifreeze in it and see if it's got heat. And then hopefully maybe in another couple of weeks I'm going to come back and do the water pump, the fan clutch, the balancer, and all that good stuff like I was going to do. But I'm going to like it now. It takes some weight off of it. But so anybody needs an old air compressor here, probably needs a clutch put on here. It's kind of got some slop in it there. But the other reason I pulled it off too is it was kind of squeaking a little bit and kind of annoying. But oh yeah, it's definitely got some play in it. That's the old air compressor there off our air cleaner there. But so we got our 4-barrel intake here. I think I did make a video on this. This is our 4-barrel intake here for our 302, and got all our brake stuff there. Got our new hoses. We got a new glove box liner for this. We got a new HEI distributor we're going to put in this because the whole wiring system on this truck is got fried in the fire, unfortunately. But another propane tank here. But I wish I had the money to get like at least a 421. But problem is I can't get nobody to come out, so we don't have a physical address. And in order to get that, you got to get the building permits and all that. And well, in order to do all that, it takes more money that I don't have. And right now, I just focus on keeping vehicles going and staying warm. And just stick it out, you know, a year or two, then I'll worry about building. But right now, I'm not worried about it. But we got all new brake stuff, got our offset air cleaner base. I got some Ford blue paint, hopefully it ain't froze. I think it's the old Ford blue. Yeah, it's old Ford blue. What else we got here? We got our, I did leave that out in the other video. We had our 90-degree fuel inlet there. Buy this one. Buy this one. Buy this one. I'm going to say that now. Because the problem with the other one is they have one that's a little generic one that's a little cheaper. But that one is junk. Pretty much. The line itself is okay. But they come with crush washers here. And this one comes with steel ones. And it seals right on up. You ain't got to worry about it. But the other one comes with plastic ones. And they are junk. I've tried them. And I don't know how many times. And every time I've tried them, they always leak like crazy. So get this one. Go and spend the money. Get the 8126. And it has a 90 like that. That way I'm going to put it on this Elderbrock down here. I got a rebuild kit for. Which is down here. And there's a rebuild kit. Has everything but floats. It actually has a new accelerator pump too, so that's nice. But I'm gonna overhaul this carburetor here. It's a 1405 manual choke, which is what I like. I don't like electric. I like to just pull a cable out, fire it, and then just push the choke back closed, or open, I mean, and go on down the road once it warms up. But make sure you buy that, because that one's got the steel crush sleeves in it. And it seals tight, and you ain't got to worry about it. But the other one has the plastic ones in there, pretty much junk. I bought a new pedal pad for this thing, and there it is for this truck here. But anyway, I just put on a little side note here for the Etzel there and the 59 Galaxies and all that. They have that Ford used that same style pedal pad for years and years and years. Probably, I don't know, since 57 all the way up to maybe even now. I think they're still using that same pattern now. And my Etzel has that same pattern. But the difference is it is wider and it is longer. And they're impossible to find. They don't repop them for some reason. I don't know why. So I actually bought that for my Etzel there because it was kind of falling off there, and I wanted to kind of just dress it up a little bit, I guess. But it wouldn't fit, so I ended up sticking on this truck. So this one's got a brand new one on it, and it's also got a new parking pedal pad on it, because this truck is, eventually I'm going to put new carpet in it, and I'm going to redo the seat. I want to keep the same style seat in it with the inserts like that. And I'm going to redo the interior in this thing once we get it all running and straight. And I'm trying to locate a motor for it, either 302 or 351, one of the two. Don't really care which, but I just want one I can throw a gasket kit in it and just throw it in it and let her go, because I don't want to, I can't afford to spend a couple $1,000s. I just don't have it. Maybe, $300 to $500 at the most, but that's about it. Money is very tight now, especially with, being on this land here. So it's kind of tight. It's going to be tight for a little while. And still, unfortunately, fighting with the landlord right now. I've surrendered that title to that mobile home, and unfortunately, now she's going to take me to court for moving it, and I don't have the money to move the darn thing. And I've tried and tried and tried since March, and people are coming. People are replying to the ad I have, because I'm trying to give the thing away so somebody can scrap it for all I care. I just want to get out from under it, but I've had probably 10 people come look at that thing, and I've told them, can I fix it up? Can I fix it up? No, you can fix it up, but it's got to be moved. Plain and simple. Landlord wants it moved, and there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried and tried and tried to talk her into letting somebody just live there. There we go again, slipping in. But I've tried to let somebody just come in there and fix it up. She won't do it. I've talked to her till I'm blue in the face. It just won't work. So now, unfortunately, I got to go to court over that. So that's still another battle that's not over yet. And I've done give her the title for it. And the bad part about it is a couple weeks ago, she said that was fine. That I could surrender the title to it. And then, so I could get out from under it and concentrate on this land here. And now she's went back on her words, unfortunately. And now I got to go to court over it. So that's something else, especially with the holidays coming up here, and it's just so ridiculous. The thing has been nothing but a nightmare. So, like I said, don't ever buy a mobile home or get a mobile home for free that's in a mobile home park and live there, because for me it's been nothing but a nightmare. So that's just a little side note there. Still bad on that. Don't know what's going to happen with that, because I'm worried that she's going to hire somebody to come move that thing, and then I got a couple $1,000s I got to pay to move something that I basically surrendered the title for and said it was okay, and then turned around and changed her mind. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. It's been nothing but a nightmare, and I just, I've told her I cannot afford it, and I want out from under that thing, and it's just, oh my Lord, I don't know what to do anymore. But anyway, enough of that. But that's what I've been doing here lately. And like I said, them HEI distributors that they machine and retrofit to fit just about anything. They make them for Dodge stuff too now. I love them. I love them, love them, love them. I'm going to run one on this truck here. Got one on my Etzel I've been running. They've been great. And Petronics out there actually, where you take your old point style distributor like on my Etzel there, you can actually pull the points out and retrofit it to electronic ignition. But then you still run that old coal there, and it's just so much simpler. You got to run a ground to it. You still got it hot, and not quite sure if you still have to have a resistor wire in it to drop it from 12 to 6. Bolts and all that, but I don't really like them. I just run HEI in it. Just run hot to it's done. You ain't got to screw with it. And plus, you got a wire on the side too. You can run a tack to it if you want it. I'm not going to run a tack on it. I mean, I could on this car if I wanted. I just have to hide it somewhere. But it's just so much nicer. You know, you just drop it in and go. You ain't gonna worry about it. But anyway, there. That's where we're at. Oh, and this truck, I think I mentioned it a while back, this truck does have a tilt column in it. Now, I put this column in, and I got a heck of a deal at the junkyard for it. They didn't even know what it was. And I ended up getting this whole column for like 75 bucks. I couldn't believe it, but it's a tilt. Now, the steering wheel ain't worth nothing. I'm going to order a new reproduction steering wheel for it, but the column is like perfect. And I had to replace it because this thing would come out of park when it was idling. It would come out of park and go to reverse, it would take off on it. So I replaced it. This one does not do that. I can push that down all you want. You know, it's not going to go nowhere. You actually have to physically pull it towards you and then to pull it down in reverse. That's how to do it. But nice thing too, if it's in drive, you know, and you accidentally, you know, you got a kid in the middle in the car seat or something, they accidentally bump it, oh shoot, out of drive, it'll go in neutral. That's it. It won't go in reverse. Before, the other column, I mean, you'd go all the way up into reverse or park. It had so much issues with it. But this one, you know, no matter how much I do that, it will not come out of park. So it's locked in park. And that's actually a 79 steering column. So I don't know if Ford changed something or not. But I know in the 80s they had to change something on it. But that was one of them safety defects. That's why they got this sticker on here about it. You have to make sure, it says, important safety precaution. Make sure the gear selector is engaged in park. Set the parking brake fully. Shut off ignition. That's the key to it. Shut off ignition. Because this truck took off on me and it damaged the storage unit that it used to be in. And I had to pay about $5,000 to replace the door. Luckily, thank God insurance covered it because this truck's got insurance on it. And unexpected, and here we go here. Let me get this a little clearer so you can see it. There we go. It says unexpected and possibly sudden vehicle movement may occur if these precautions are not taken. Refer to your owner's manual for other important safety information. Before leaving the driver's seat, you should always do 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, they actually had a safety defect. My Etzel's that way as well. But this column is a 79 column, so maybe they changed something. But it will not come out of park. But, and I still don't trust. I always turn the switch off if I get out of it. But anyway, my Etzel's like that though. It actually, it can come out of park. So that's basically, must have been a Ford thing for years and years. But don't get out of it. If it's idle, make sure and shut her off. If you got to work on it, the way I work on it, that's what everybody always leaves out. I just put it in park. I'll set the parking brake, and I'll actually chuck the tires with a couple center blocks or something. And I'll take it a step further if I have to, and I'll get my buddy or something to sit in it and just, you know, in case anything happens. But I'm, you know, most of the time that's going a little overboard. But you never know. This truck took off on me. But one of them Ford things, you know, take off and reverse.